It's funny. Uh, I just closed the door because I feel a little insecure talking about this. Actually, to be honest, which is why I am talking about this. I wanted to explore some ideas around stress and non-duality, or stress in general. And yeah, honestly, don't know how to lay out my words because you have all these different coaches and trainers and speakers and anyone and everyone telling you how to manage stress, and there are a ton of different techniques and modalities to do that. And I noticed that sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. I would like to go a little bit deeper into what I see stress is a forgetting of who we are. We're forgetting that we are spirit humaning, in human form, or apparent human form, which is relevant because it's not. Um, it's not that we're actually in a body. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have consciousness. That's the profound illusion. Our consciousness, fool to believe that we are the body, and that the body inhabits a consciousness, and that um, there are many of us. Well, it is and it isn't, and that's why I want to talk about stress, because stress seems to be the illusion of of form uh, contracting. So it's like the more I buy into the materialistic illusion, the more stressed I'm gonna be, it seems like. And that's fascinating. And lately I've been very stressed the last few months. And it looks to me, the character, when I say me, I mean the character, the action figure, the body, the mind, the personality, the 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 the, the, the seem the seemed entity that I think I am, seems to seems to take itself seriously, to identify myself with a person, and from that perspective, and identify with my thoughts. And from that perspective, all thoughts are just conditioned habitual memories. Or, when we were born, there was no thoughts, there was no language, there was no thing. And this no thing is really who we are, and closer to reality. And when we have a better understanding of reality, we can navigate better. But when we don't see that clearly, we tend to hold on to what we believe in. Hold on to our beliefs, forgetting that beliefs are beliefs. They're not reality. They're convictions. They're convicting us. If we say something is true, or if we believe something that has incredible power over us, it becomes a very, very strong illusion. And you can actually play with this. We can play with this. We can decide to believe something. We can see it, feel it, speak it, and we can believe it so much that it kind of builds this lifestyle, or manifests some tower of Legos, and forgetting, but it's still an illusion. It's still an illusion. It really is. And that's why, when we really engage with and buy into the duality, or the dual experience, there always have to be like a counterpart to that. So then it becomes like, in order to succeed, you have to sacrifice, or these stories. But going back to this person's story, lately I've been stressed and overwhelmed, and again been like slapped by God, and really had a wake-up call again, reminding me that this is all a play. This is, why are you running? Where are you running to? And what are you running from? And what are you actually, why are you doing what you're doing? Because it looks so real to us, the carrot in front of the horse, or the donkey. It looks to us as if over there is better than here. When we identify with the person, when we identify as a person, when we wake up in the morning, we go from isness, just consciousness, or just, I guess, awareness of nothing, or we go from just being to immediately identify as a person. We wake up to this illusion, and then immediately we start searching. We start searching for home, really. We start searching for that peace, tranquility, and oneness, love. So we think we need to do a lot of things. Hey! To get there. Bromingo. If you're watching this, go check out Broke and Bohemian on YouTube. Yeah. So, in the character, as the action figure, you know, there's always a place to get. And I'm, again, I've been waking up to the fact of who I am. And it's an energy shift. It's a grounding. It's a trust in the universe, and it's a slowing down of my experience. And it just raises the tides and changes the priorities in my life when I see clearly. And when I mean clearly, I mean not being too engaged in my thinking, not being too engaged in the duality, the illusion of duality, really, and just resting in the knowing that this is it. There was never anything else. There will never be anything else. This is it. And time is an illusion. I mean, and it's not going to help anyone to understand this, but at the same time, it will. It can kind of help to pulverize some of our beliefs, and that's very healthy. We are very, very good at creating beliefs in the Western world. And I am too. And I have been, particularly the last few weeks, been running on a treadmill, trying to be good enough, trying to work hard enough, trying to make enough money. And in the end, my body just said, stop. My body just said, my immune system shut down. I've been on and off sick for the last, I don't know, 4 weeks. And and there's a deep knowing in me that knows that the reason these physical effects are happening is because of a deeper, truth. It's like I'm living not 100% aligned with my truth and who I am and what I want in life. 99% certain, aligned, but not 100%. And that will tear on us. Like people who work a job they don't like for a long period of time, they will have pain and in their body and suffering and also, mentally, emotionally. You see this all over the place. People getting like all these diagnoses and lower back pain and nerve pains, and it's just the universal intelligence trying to communicate with this contracted form of energy called a human being. And it's all really connected. So it's all like, it's like you're being lived by consciousness. It's like you are an activity of consciousness. Life is happening through us. Life is happening through us, not to us, which is what we believe day to day. We go around the world in life and we're acting as if life is happening to us. And that's an innocent misunderstanding. Life is happening through us. So that's why, when you start seeing that and the world works inside out, it's really the opposite. It's like the general level of consciousness in the world right now, in the Western world, is it's like everyone is doing their best that they can, but they're running, and they're running really effectively, and they're navigating really effectively, but they're navigating 180% degrees, I'm sorry, 180 degrees in the opposite direction. So it's like you're really doing everything you can to open a door the wrong way. Like we're constantly chasing our own tail. um, we're chasing our own tail, not realizing that we are the tail. So we are running around trying to manage life as if life is happening to us. If life is happening to us, of course we have to manage everything and try to fix problems and try to change things in order to sort things out, because life, we think life is happening to us, so we try to make like causations and pattern recognition, right? We try to like see like, okay, if this person, if someone calls me an asshole, then I will be angry, so I need to navigate the world to make sure that nobody calls me an asshole, and so I will not be angry. But that correlation, there's no causation there, there's no real causation. That's all an illusion, it's all thought, it's not real. um, so when realizing that we are both creating and perceiving our experience, um, and I'm not even talking about we as in the person, I'm just talking about who we really are. And then we start to see that this is it, and I'm sitting here and talking to myself, really. and and all of the problems that seems to be out there, and 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 separate, they kind of internalizes, and you start realizing that it all just is. It's like it's all one, but it's not even one, it's before one. One is too much form. Like if you have, we can't even, our intellect cannot even phantom nothing. Like try to think about nothing, it's impossible. It immediately becomes something, right? And that something will want, and as soon as our intellect turns nothing into something, then there's the observer observing that something, and that's what we call duality, and that's the universe. That's how we experience the universe. So our experience looks dual to us. But the problem and the stress starts to arise when we cling on to our experience, or cling on to that veil, that illusion. And I mean, and it's gonna happen, like it's not nothing to do with it. The only thing we can do when we are stressed is kind of, if we're talking about doing, like application, like action, is to enhance the stress, because there was never any stress to begin with. That was just the ego illusion, contraction, trying to get somewhere, and thinking, mistakenly believing that this very moment is not good enough. This very moment is not not heaven. Because that's really what it comes down to, is that this is it. Like you're here now, and this is it. And there's nowhere you need to go. There's nowhere we need to fix. There's nothing to it. This is it. what happened to me during this stressful period of the last 4 weeks was that my body told me to stop, so I got sick. I got sick 3 times in a row, actually, in different ways. And I had no choice but to stop and rest and do nothing and let all my ambitions and priorities and to-do lists and work and everything just crumble. And which reminds me of Fight Club. Losing all hope is freedom. There's a there's a there's something deep to that. Uh, we we're already at the finish line, mistakenly believing that we need to run. And it doesn't help with, like, this is interesting how the world is changing these days. You look at this whole COVID thing, and as soon as everyone takes a big pause for a year or 2 years or however long it's been, you start seeing nature flourishing again. It's obvious. It's because we are so egotistical. We're buying so much into the idea that we are separate egos, separate persons, um, that that we constantly try to. We're constantly seeking. It happens immediately when as soon as we identify as a person, that identification is a it turns immediately into seeking, because there's a part of us that recognize that we are not the person, so we're trying to get somewhere, we're trying to get home, really. That's why you never actively fall asleep at night. You just fall asleep. Like, it's not something you do because it's there already. You're just falling back into isness. You're falling back into who you are. The tension, the the I call it the veil, the illusion, the contraction of this whole matrix, um, is what's not real. And it's not even like, even words. That's why this is challenging to talk about this, because all of my words are not the essence of where the words are coming from or what the words are coming from. They can never be that essence because they're in form. And we only understand the matrix, we only understand the illusion, we only understand, I'm talking about intellectual understanding. So there's a deeper understanding, there's a knower in us that knows the beauty of life, that knows who we are, that knows consciousness, and that are resonating with what I'm saying or what I'm pointing to. There's a resonance here that not really, not talking about the intellect, and if you're understanding intellectually what I'm saying or the words that I'm saying, I'm not even understanding it myself. It's just, these are just words, but I'm pointing to nothing, really. And and it's funny because the intellect's version of nothing is just irrelevant, but the deeper knowing of what nothing is really, can be really life-changing. Nothing is who we are. Nothing is universal mind. It's isness, it's truth, it's the universe, it's God, it's life force, it's what has flowers grow, it's what, and it's what has us grow and take form in the perfect shape that we are supposed to be taken to. It's gonna happen. it's not even in our control. It doesn't even, the ego are grasping um, for control, but it's not. There's so much the ego can't even unthink, can't even fathom or understand the true power of who it is. That's why the only relevant question really is, who am I? There's a silence to it. It's between the lines. It's what love is. It's the simplicity of life. It's the simplicity of love. It's everything that's not complex. And it's really beautiful. And that's what happened when I got that, again, a wake-up call from life, you know, which in the ego's story, it looked like a burnout, but it just woke me back up to letting go of um, yeah, bullshit, of my point was, yeah, to let go of the idea that there's problems, or that there is, you know, you constantly put things in good or bad, or yes or no, or up and down, and black and white, and complementary, and you know, or I mean, what's the other word? Um, Opposites. Well, in reality, it's all the same, and it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Um, so when life stopped me, what felt like happening was this tension of me trying really hard. That let go. And as soon as that let go, there was space for love, natural love, just life force, just isness, to arise. And when that arised, you know, when you have just, you're just having a good time. There's nothing to it. There's nothing to it. It's just how we humans naturally are. We are equipped for euphoria. We are adapted to be naturally happy. We're born happy. We don't have to do anything to be happy. And it just came to me, like slapped me in the face again. And I know this. And it's such bullshit, because we constantly forget it, and then we remember. And we forget it, and we remember. Especially if we're in the fast lane. You know, if we're in the fast lane, trying to get somewhere, trying to impress some people, trying to chase the money, or I don't know. There's nothing wrong with chasing money, there's nothing wrong with doing anything. But if there's two ways of doing things, or like there's one is just it's happening naturally, another one is I need to do this in order to. and the I need to do this in order to, that's a dangerous path to be on, because you're working against yourself. You're it's like it's like it's like beating yourself in the face, not realizing you're the one doing it until you wake up. And then I woke up and it was like, I've been hitting myself in the face for a long time now. Why am I doing that? And then, there's still resistance in my thinking, and I start to ask questions. And so it's really, more an energetic shift than it is like an intellectual understanding, as if any intellectual understanding is going to give us anything. We think that knowing more intellectually is going to give us some kind of freedom or something. It's not. It's not. It's very simple. We're already there. This is it. We are already there. We were born enough, more than enough, more than we can understand, more than we can think. You are more than you think. And it's mind-boggling to think about, because because we are trying to grasp, trying to control so that the ego can feel special. And it's an interesting life to live, because it's a play, it's a dance of this character walking around thinking he's in charge. you know and the funny thing is, like, it's not even like we can use the metaphor of being in a computer game. Like, let's say you play Grand Theft Auto and you're the main character, believing that this character here is the guy controlling, is like the character in Grand Theft Auto believing he's the guy controlling. But really, the controller is controlling, right? But in life, there's no... That's what I'm saying. The real you is the guy playing the game. And there's not really control as the way our intellect understands the word control. But when you start opening up and start remembering that, and this is something this is something you remember every single night, and you knew it before you were born, and there's like silver lining of like glimpses in life where you see this, you're gonna see that life becomes easier, simpler. The blood flow works as it should. Your breathing takes care of itself. Your money takes care of itself. Your path. And it's like, the less we engage with the high, the noisy orchestra that's dominating our thinking, the easier it'll be to receive messages and to just be listening to your own intuition and life. Because there's information there's information coming to you, through you all the time, in feelings. Yeah. And then we can start to, and then worry turns into wonderment. Worry turns into wondering. Huh. Hmm. Anything we do in the character world will make us able to understand the watcher. I don't know why I've written this down, because I don't agree with it. That's also a very interesting thing when exploring non-duality, is that there are there are often contradictions. Like I'm saying, I can say something and I can say something contradictory later, because it's not about right and wrong. It's not about up and down. It's not about duality. You know, we're so fixated on right and wrong. Meanwhile, it doesn't exist. So on this note here, I've written, anything we do in the character world will make us able to understand the watcher. Which right now I would disagree with. Like, anything we do in the character world will not make us able to understand the watcher. Maybe that's what I wanted to read. That's probably right. I mean, that's probably what I wanted to write. Helplessness is a characteristic ingrained in us, in me, from a young age. A habit of the brain. Yeah. And yeah, thinking is very superficial. It's not it's a good tool, you know, practical, good tool. Sometimes nothing wrong with it, but too much thinking. For me, I get a headache in the frontal lobe. I'm actually researching now. Headache in the frontal lobe. While at the same time knowing, um, knowing, I know what's happening. I'm using, yeah, way too much um, thinking and problem creating and problem solving. So, which is unnecessary. We think it's necessary. That's the key. We think it's necessary. So it's useful to understand the nature of thought. Thought is everything. Like thought, like universal thought, like this matrix. That's thought. Well, that's one word for it. Yo. Yeah. Which is, we're addicted to self. We're selfing all the time. That's what happens when you wake up. When you really wake up, the self doesn't become, it's not so relevant. Who cares about the ego? You know what I mean? Like the self, it's not that important. It's not important. It really isn't. Feels like it is, though. Feels like it's important for me to be a success. Which is the only thing holding me back from success. Well, arguably I am successful, full circle again. This is it. There's no one there. There's no one there. This is all nothing. And the intellect doesn't like that necessarily, unless you've been in this conversation for a while and have a sense of what I'm pointing to. Then maybe some of the habitual intellectual thought habits have been overlooked enough times to let go. The Bible talks about heaven and hell. That's, meanwhile, constantly pointing to that God is in everything. It is everything. So the heaven and hell is pointing to the idea of good and bad. But that's an idea. That's an idea of the mind. It's funny to see how we are proclaiming that this is good and this is bad, and then a decade goes by and all of a sudden this is good and this is bad. Or you ask someone else and they have completely different opinions and preferences. So it's never the thing. It's not the circumstance. It's not the people. It's not anything out there at all that's good or bad. I think that's beautiful. It's very freeing. Um, you know, like you don't go through your hairs on your head and go through them and say this is a good hair and this is a bad hair and this is a good hair and this is a bad hair. It's just hair. Or, you know, a tree doesn't have favorite branches. Yeah. Thank you. How do I turn this off? Save highlights. Orientation is locked.